And done. The materials for the Sonic 2 video are ready to go.
Took you long enough. Jeez.
Man, shut up. You didn't have to go through a shitload of documents just to make this video work.
Says you. I had to gather up all that for you in the first place. I may be the fastest thing alive, but that don't mean Sega is.
Honestly, I could do a whole video series just on Sega's business strategies back then, or lack thereof. Hey man, are you good?
Trust me, the day will come where you won't be.
Sega!
The day will come where we won't be. You know what? We don't even have time. Let's just get the video started.
Sega!
In the last video, we talked about Yuji Naka leaving Sega to work with the Technical Institute over in the States, but we really didn't go into the details of how it went down. Simply put, Naka didn't like the rigidness of working at Sega and the salary wasn't high enough for him. While this was going on, Institute head Mark Cerny was meeting with the game designers from Sega of Japan to get them to join the Institute. So far, he managed to get Hirokazu Yasuhara, the game designer for Sonic 1, on board, and steadily continued to get more people to join his team. Sometime later, Cerny heads to Japan to meet up with some of his associates stationed there. He learns from them about Yuji Naka's situation and decides to visit him to learn what went wrong between Naka and Sega. Cerny convinces Naka to return to Sega at the Institute, where he would be insulated from Sega of Japan's leadership and be given a higher salary to boot. Naka moves to California in September of 1991. Around this time, Cerny pitched a sequel to Sonic 1 to the team, but Sega thought it was too soon. Cerny believed that a sequel would be inevitable, so they tooled around with some concepts in the meantime.
Wow. So that's it then. Early Sega is way more methodical and organized than the Sega I know.
Nope. Sega calls Cerny in a panic about a month later, saying that they changed their mind and they need the game sooner.
Oh no.
And get this, they have less than a year to do it.
Yep, never mind. Jeez, the more things change.
So, they have 11 months to make the sequel to the biggest game in Sega history. Needless to say, Cerny and the Institute had to batten down the hatches to get this bitch out on time. To make matters worse, some of the Japanese devs had trouble making it over to the US due to visa issues. Sonic 2 is already off to a rough start. Development for Sonic 2 didn't start until the early part of 1992. A lot of ideas were being tested. Some were great, like the spin dash. Others were shit, like Sonic getting collision damage and running into a wall. They were even kicking around the idea of Eggman using time travel to take over the world, a premise that we are all intimately familiar with. The ideas kept on coming. Naka was able to implement a two-player mode, something he wanted to put in the first game, but had to leave on the cutting room floor. For the two-player mode, they needed another playable character besides Sonic.
Ah yeah, it's time for my co-pilot, my little bro, my road dog, Tails!
Miles per hour if you're nasty. And apparently they were, because the main artist for Sonic Team didn't like that the marketing guys wanted to change his name to Tails.
Charges of the game, I guess.
They were able to compromise in the end though, so there's that. In any case, this was only the first of several complications due to the cultural differences between US and Japan. Things never got hostile, but the experience level between them was noticeable. The Japan side had several projects under their belt as opposed to the handful of ones on the American side. This unbalance led to several things being scrapped from the final product. A bunch of sprites, objects, and sounds were omitted, with some being basically complete but unable to fit the memory on the Genesis cartridge. The most famous omission would probably be a handful of zones that got cut from the final game, with Hidden Palace Zone being the most famous of those, but we'll save that for a bit later in the video.
Oh yeah, cue the music!
Wait, I gotta talk about the gameplay first.
And the story. Bro!
The story is as follows. Sonic arrives at West Island fresh off his adventure at Never Lake / Little Planet. Legend has it that an ancient civilization once harnessed the powers of the Chaos Emeralds there. When he arrives, he meets Miles Tails Prower, a two-tailed fox with a knack for machinery. As they travel across the island, they cross paths with Dr. Eggman, who is also trying to find the Chaos Emeralds. Imagine that. To power his most dangerous weapon yet. Can Sonic and Tails defeat Eggman once again?
My money says yes.
This is the gameplay for Sonic 2.
That's Sonic 1 footage?
Oh, my bad. This is the gameplay for Sonic 2.
That's CD. What gives?
Sorry to tell you this, but Sonic 2's core gameplay is the same as the last two games. Not much has changed, but what has changed is significant. So right off the bat, the 3-act system is now down to 2. Each zone is 2-act apiece, and this carries over to the next game. Another big change is the addition of our favorite fox boy, Tails. He runs around with you and can help in certain situations like giving you extra hits in against Eggman. His main thing is picking up Sonic and carrying him in midair for a few seconds. He can never hold him long enough though to get anywhere far, but it's a neat trick.
Flying is cool and all, but I like running better.
Maybe your fat ass laid off of some of the chili dogs Tails could keep you up longer.
Hey!
Special zones exist, but you access them by hitting the star circle that appears whenever you pass a goalpost with at least 50 rings. This transports you to another pseudo 3D environment where the goal is to collect a set number of rings in each checkpoint of the half pipe to obtain a Chaos Emerald. It sounds easy, but Sonic and Tails auto-run, which means you can't stop for anything. To add to the difficulty, there are traps scattered around the track that will take rings from you if you run into them. Some are easier to avoid than others. Sometimes you see them far enough in advance to avoid them, and other times they pop in at odd angles like when you're leaving a curve and you end up eating shit and losing some rings. I feel like the difficulty of the special stages are all over the place. The 3rd and 6th stages are a pain to deal with. The first game was more consistent and CD was a problem throughout.
I guess these stages are a happy medium.
Yeah, that sounds right, but if you beat all the special stages and get all the Chaos Emeralds, something cool will happen.
Here, I'll show you.
Okay, it's time for zone time.
Huh? Wait, Wow, real cool of you, throwing me off my game like that.
I mean, you can skip the segment if you want. I'm more than happy to free you up.
Relax, I'm doing it. Sheesh. Emerald Hill Zone. It's the first level of a classic Sonic game, so you already know what to expect. Blue skies, green grass, and loop-de-loops.
There's a pretty cool corkscrew thing that shows up.
Oddly enough, it never shows up again in this game for some reason. In this zone, you fight Eggman's Egg Drillster, which is just Eggman riding back and forth on a cart with a drill in front of it.
That's it? What a lazy fuck.
Anyway, beat him and the zone is done. I give Emerald Hill Zone 5 gold plates out of 5. It's not as iconic as Green Hill, but I think it's more fun to play. Chemical Plant Zone. I think this might be the most famous zone in the entire game. Awesome music, long stretches of ramps to really get some speed going, high-speed tubes that shoot you across the zone. I think we're looking at the best factory level we've seen thus far.
That's not all sunshine and rainbows. You can easily drown if you're not careful. And then there's those skinny yellow pitfalls that can ruin your day in an instant.
True, but it's not like we're dealing with a lame water level, so the danger is minimal. In this zone, you fight Eggman's Egg Poison Machine. One of the hazards in this zone is this blue goop called Mega Mac. If you touch it, you take damage. Wanna guess what this machine does?
Looks like he pumps it up from the liquid below and tries to dump it on your head.
Yep.
What a lazy fuck.
I give Chemical Plant Zone 5 gold plates out of 5. It's easily one of the greatest zones of all time. Aquatic Ruin Zone. It's a crappy water level.
Oh come on, only half of it takes place underwater. Don't be a salty bitch.
Fair enough. It's not a Labyrinth Zone, so at least there's that. If you mixed Marble Zone of Labyrinth Zone and sprinkled in past Collision Chaos's aesthetic on top of it, you would get Aquatic Ruin Zone.
See? Was that so hard?
Anyway, you fight Eggman's Egg Hammer here. He traps you between two pillars and he hits the top of them with his hammer to shoot down arrows. Those same arrows get stuck in the statues and you must climb to reach the top of the statues to get high enough to attack Eggman. Hit him a few times to win.
So let me get this straight. Eggman doesn't use the big ass hammer on you directly, but uses it to shoot arrows out of some random ass statues.
Yep.
Oh man.
I give Aquatic Ruin 3 gold plates out of 5. It's an okay zone. Casino Night Zone. 3 guesses as to what the theme of this zone is. Casino Night is a slot machine style level with pinball stylings and a Vegas theme with bright lights and a starry skyline.
It's definitely a step up from Spring Yard Zone, that's for sure. Even the neon writing makes sense now.
And it fully leans into the pinball theme with all the flippers and bumpers. Spring Yard and Collision Chaos dip their toes into the theme, but Casino Night plunges head first into it. In this zone, you fight the Egg Catcher, which is a claw catcher machine that drops spike bombs down instead of prizes. He's up kinda high, so the only way to reach him is to launch yourself up with the flippers. Just time your shots just right, and the battle is yours. I give Casino Night Zone 5 gold plates out of 5. It's the second most famous zone in the whole game, and for good reason. Hilltop Zone. While every zone so far has had a similar themes before, this one is totally unique as this is the first zone that takes place on a mountain.
It might be the only one if my notes on the next couple of games are correct.
For the most part, you're zipping around the top of the mountain until you start running into lava, some caves, and some caves filled with lava.
It didn't look like a volcanic mountain just going off the scenery. I guess that's how it is on this bitch of an Earth.
Eggman continues to turn up the heat with his Egg Scorcher Mark II.
Oh! He upgraded his machine from Marble Zone. I guess he's not a lazy fuck after all.
This time, he attacks from the lava instead of above. Just tag him a few times and avoid his flamethrower, and it's an easy win. I give Hilltop Zone 4 gold plates out of 5. It's a theme I wish got used more.
You have a really strong string of zones here. So far, nothing has scored low.
Wow, your timing is impeccable. Mystic Cave Zone. Well, it's another unique theme. So far we've had Quartz Quadrant checking the box somewhere, but now Mystic Cave enters the ring.
I like the stage music.
So do I, and that's the last of my praises for this zone.
Damn.
This is one of those zones where the traps are decently effective. I found myself on the receiving end of some spike traps more than I care to admit.
I've heard rumors that there's a really nasty death trap in here. Basically, it's a spike pit that you can't jump out of, and if you fall in, you're fucked. Either your time or your rings will run out on you when it's all said and done.
I don't believe you. What?
Hold up. What the hell is this?
I don't know, but it's not a death trap. Point Sonic.
I knew Hidden Palace Zone was one of the scrap levels from Sonic 2 that was the closest to being completed, but I only thought it got added into the mobile version.
I guess the Origins collection uses those versions of the games as the basis instead of the original ones?
Looks like you got a bonus zone for your segment in any case.
Hidden Palace Zone. This zone got completed and put on the mobile version of the game. It's a temple with an underwater section that was originally supposed to be the area that you'd be sent to when you gather all the Chaos Emeralds.
Sadly, that concept got cut alongside the other zones. Wood Zone, Dust Hill Zone, Genocide City Zone.
Oh jeez, that last one was a bit on the nose. Was Killtown Zone or Deathville Zone already taken? Anyway, it's not too much to this zone, but before you know it, you're face to face with Eggman's brass machine, and it's his most unique machine yet. He uses the horns and bells to resonate with the giant organ in the back. This triggers debris to fall alongside some spike bombs that will fall into the water and explode. Eggman is up too high to attack, so you need to bait him into the explosion from the big spike bomb to bring him down to your level where you can hit him. Keep at it and he's done. I give Hidden Palace Zone 3 gold plates out of 5. The zone is really short and you can only access it by jumping into the death trap that was there for years until this release. Hidden Palace comes back in the next game and I think is the better of the two.
Beating Hidden Palace Zone takes you straight to the next zone, so let's just go back and finish up Mystic Cave.
Right. The boss fight here is the most annoying one so far. Eggman's got his egg digger.
Oh yay, more drills.
This one's more of a hassle than the other one. His hitbox is a little tricky and the debris he drops down is a pain to deal with. To this day, I still have no idea how to avoid it all. Just hang in there, do the best you can, and take them down. I give Mystic Cave Zone 2 gold plates out of 5. I could do without all the spike traps. Oil Ocean Zone. This is another unique theme. It's an oil refinery that Eggman owns and is almost completely devoid of fire.
That's a good thing, my friend. Nothing spells chaos like everything around you being engulfed in flames.
That's oddly specific, but true. Even though this is technically a factory level, it really doesn't feel that way. The whole thing takes place outdoors, and the whole thing just has a deserty vibe to it, you know? Eggman fights inside of his Egg Marine, complete with a harpoon and laser cannon. The only way to hit him is to jump into the oil pit and get some shots in before he goes back under.
That oil is dragging you down too. Better make sure you don't end up drowning.
Me? Never. I give Oil Ocean 3 gold plates out of 5. Metropolis Zone. Oh boy, where do I begin? It's a factory level and a big one at that. The spaciousness of the zone is surprising given what this style of levels tend to be like.
Oh, don't you worry, the giant screw elevators you run on will get you that feeling if you're missing it.
You and I both know the screws aren't the issue here. It's these robotic starfish guys that shoot tiny spikes at you.
Fuck those assholes! Not only do they come out in groups, but the darts they shoot are barely visible until...
Right? And they always show up near the giant screws where you can't easily avoid them.
Honestly, the whole zone is a testament to shitty enemy placement. The slicers and shell crackers are bad enough, but Asterion takes the damn cake.
Now imagine having to deal with these guys in 3 different acts. That's right, Metropolis Zone is 3 acts for no reason at all.
I mean, we know the reason. They want you to think this is the Vinyl Zone, but we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
Eggman fights you in his Egg Bouncer, which is his regular Eggmobile with a ring of inflatable clones of himself sliding from attacks. Not gonna lie, this might be the hardest boss in the whole game. The pods move around him in an erratic pattern. Most of the time, you end up hitting his clones first before him. I'm sure there's a trick to it, but ain't nobody got time for that. I've given Metropolis Zone 1 gold plate out of 5. The enemy placement, the crazy boss, and the third act really brings the mood down for me. Sky Chase Zone. So, Eggman escapes from Metropolis Zone in a giant flying ship, so Tails fires up my plane and we chase after him.
Wait, when the hell did you get a plane?
Remember? I used it to get to West Side Island from Never Lake.
When did you get a pilot license?
Around the same time I got my driver's license.
Why the fuck do you need a car?
This level is more of a set piece than anything. Tails is piloting the tornado while I stand on top of the wings fighting off enemies. This is an auto-scrolling level, and it's impossible to fall off the plane thanks to Tails. Just avoid the enemies and reach the ship, which is even easier thanks to this area not having a boss fight. I give Sky Chase Zone 5 gold plates out of 5. It's a unique level and a breath of fresh air after dealing with Metropolis Zone. Wing Fortress Zone. It's another short level, but it's got more going on in it than Sky Chase. This zone is the first flying battleship level in series history.
Oh shit, is Tails alright?
Yeah, not only is he a much better pilot than me, he can fly.
Yeah, for short bursts.
Trust me, Tails is good enough to stand on his own.
The motherfucker has to fall first to stand.
Once you board the ship, you make your way from the bottom across the side and on top, and eventually through the entire ship. This part kind of confuses me. Yeah, this is the critical path, but the way those lifts on the turbines are set up makes it seem like it's the way to go.
Well, the side lifts kind of blend in with the rest of the ship, so I can't argue with you there.
As for boss encounters, Eggman traps you in a laser prison where the only thing you can do is hit the laser lens itself.
I swear, it's always spikes, drill, fires, and lasers with this guy. At least he's not using decoys again.
Yeah, I think I'll just rather deal with the laser. I give Wing Fortress Zone 4 gold plates out of 5. It's a great zone and the first in a long tradition of the series. Death Egg Zone. This is it, the final zone. Literally. It's just some boss fights with 0 rings around.
Yep, you fight Mecha Sonic, which is not this guy, or this guy, yet. And the less said about this guy, the better.
He's not too bad once you get the hang of his pattern. The hardest thing about him is his hitbox. You have to hit him on his face. If you jump too high, you hit his blades and die. Once you deal with him, you chase down Eggman, not before he hops into his Death Egg robot.
Eggman's names aren't the most imaginative, but this is as basic bitch as you can get.
I mean, it's an impressive robot complete with a number of attacks, but nothing is more effective than a deceptive hitbox.
Oh well, that's bullshit. Yeah, spikes hurt, but I don't see any fucking spikes whatsoever.
Just like the last fight, aim at his face and you'll be fine.
What the hell did you do?
I don't know.
You better get the hell out of there. Wait, you're in space. How the fuck are you gonna breathe out there or survive re-entry?
Like this.
Wow. I guess those Chaos Emeralds were worth it in the end. Super Sonic is your reward for attaining all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Once you do, just collect 50 rings in any level and jump to trigger the transformation. As Super Sonic, you run faster, jump higher, and become invulnerable to all damage. But most importantly, Sonic gets new theme music. Just make sure to avoid any pits and keep your ring count up and you'll be unstoppable.
Man, what a rush.
God damn, you let your rings run out.
I should have grabbed some more on the way back in. Oh well, want to talk about versus mode?
Yeah, I guess. There's not much to talk about. It's a split-screen race to the end of Acts 1 and 2 for Emerald Hill, Mystic Cave, and Casino Night. The special stage is there too if you like that shit. The zones are exactly the same as their normal counterparts, right down to the number of checkpoints. It's a nice little bonus mode alongside the main game. As for ports, Sonic 2 has been easily available for years, and just like every other game here, the best port is probably going to be the mobile version, which you can play on the Origins collection. They even went through the trouble of adding more zones to the Versus mode. Hell yeah! So, after hearing all that, you're probably thinking, where does Sonic 2 land on the scale of Sonic games? It's Sonic 2. It's probably one of the greatest sequels of all time. Street Fighter 2, Mega Man 2, Halo 2, Soul Calibur 2, Resident Evil 2, Kingdom Hearts 2, Half-Life 2, all the great 2s in gaming, Sonic 2 is right up there with them.
It may be one of the earliest examples of a game launch being an event. Sonic Tuesday was the name of the launch day for Sonic 2. Tuesday, November 24th, 1992. On that day, the game was released internationally, something unheard of for that time. And the rest is history.
And that history continues in the next video. If you thought Sega was hanging by the skin of their balls in Sonic 2, just wait till you hear what goes down with Sonic 3.
Ahem.
And Knuckles.